Hello and welcome. It's Monday Club. We're back. It's actually Friday for us, so whatever day you are listening, happy whatever day it is. This is whiskey because it's Friday. Now, before we get started, we've got a really important subject this week: van theft. But I want to introduce you to Verso. Those regular listeners, you'll know who they are. Now, they have been working really, really hard lately to get stockists in your area. Now, they have a map of where they are in your area. It's at versoelectrical.co.uk. The link will be in the show notes. Go and check it out. Yeah, they're really good stuff. It's very competitively priced. It's time to sort of move away from the old school stuff. Although it's tried and tested, these guys have come through with, and they're really trying to make good stuff at a reasonable cost. So go and check them out. Versoelectrical.co.uk.
They get a tick from me before we move on. I just installed one of their boards. It's good gear. Very good gear.
Listen, it's not... It's a good alternative to what's out there, isn't it?
I'll put one on my ass. I'll announce. What was it? What Alex was on this week? It was on
Exeter.
They had showed it on their website. So I messaged him last week. Says I need a double stack, and he got back to me and says it's coming out before Christmas. So that's why I'm keeping my mouth shut, because I haven't used one yet, but I'm going to buy a double stack one.
And they've got the double pole mini RCBOs coming out in a month as well, I think. So
it's good stuff. Changer. It's good stuff, and they're trying really hard to be good at what they do. And
I'll tell you what, it's good on a social. I don't get paid by a sponsor. It's good on social media, isn't it? I give him that.
Yes.
Interactive, I like that. Nice personal touch.
Doesn't phone you up on a Sunday.
No, I won't get at that. This is the third take of this for anyone's watching. Start again.
No. Right. So, Mark, bit of a dodgy subject. I am going to say I told you so. Should we tell the story first of what's happened? Right. I know it's your story, but the other day, right, Mark said, I'm going down to Heathrow.
Just like that.
Right. To do some fannying about. And I'm going to be staying down there. And I'm going to be parking in a Premier Inn. And I was like, well, let me just tell you, Heathrow is a docile, and all round it is very dicey. Mind your van. What happened, Mark?
Yeah, someone peeled the side of the van door to have a look inside and see if there was out worth nicking. So we had a big hole right around the locking mechanism. And Sam was right. It was a bit of a dive, but then again, you can go to any hotel when you're working away, and it can happen anywhere in the country. Since I've shared a bit of what's been going on, I've had messages from people all over getting done in car parks.
It's a funny one, isn't it?
Did they get anything? Did you just say they weren't nothing worth nicking?
No, we like I say, we leave the vans empty anyway. I look like a right.
Plus, you use Makita, don't you?
No, I don't. We use Milwaukee. But you look a bit daft sometimes when you start booling all your tools out. But we do that because I've been down this road before. It's not my first time dealing with it.
What do you do with your tools? That's the question.
How many times, sorry, Mark, how many times is this? Just because you just said that.
This is about the 12th time in...
I'm laughing, but that's ridiculous.
For you personally?
No, the company.
Right, okay. What about... well, it don't matter, does it? What about you personally, just out of interest?
3 of my vehicles. And sometimes it's stupid stuff. I had I had a Nissan Navara pickup truck and someone robbed the spare wheel from under it. And the tie downs in the loading area you get in pickups, they robbed them as well. So stupid bits like that. I've had a window put in on a Fiat Doblo I had years ago. We've had locks drilled, slam locks drilled, all sorts.
I'm come to my own van. I've never been done, but once back in the day, I used to be a DJ, and we used to take a recordable CD player around with us and record our sets. And this thing cost a fortune. And one day, someone broke into my Skoda Felicia, smashed the back window, and this was in the back with a load of my records, and over it was a pair of rigger boots, and I was grinning from ear to ear about it. But they're not the boot.
Being a DJ driving a Skoda.
Skoda Felicia in pea green, it was mint. But
Listen, can I ask a pertinent question here? Mark, what do you do with your tools at a hotel, please?
Push them in. So we've got the pack-out trolleys. You'll have seen me with pictures of them and on my videos. I wheel them in. You look a bit of a plonker to the receptionist. But I don't care. We've had this happen too much. We travel light. We don't take anything more than we need. And all the gear either gets left on the job, locked up in the warehouse or place of work, whatever you're doing, Anything else comes into the hotel room overnight
Do
of
the
value.
hotel? You ever get the hotel moan at you about that out of interest?
No, I mean, sometimes it's a bit of a ball ache when you've got to take it up to the 8th floor in a lift. I'm not going to lie, it's not always easy, but generally they're all right. They understand. The thing I don't like with the hotels is like this one in particular. I paid 15 quid to park for that night. It had CCTV cameras. It was well lit. There's barriers on the entrance and the exit to that car park. I asked them for copies of the CCTV. Still nothing. I was assured that had been emailed over. So I know they say they have on the signs, don't they? No responsibility for any loss or theft that occurs on our premises. But if you're paying 15 quid for the privilege, surely
they're not free anymore. Parking in Premier, they ain't free no more.
And be blunt, yeah, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about you. They do not give a flying shit. As long as they get your 55 quid, they could not give a toss. Absolutely don't give a shit about you. My mate found a Johnny in a kettle in a Premier in, allegedly, just for legal reasons.
Do you know what?
They're horrible.
Jamie's opinions are his own.
but they just don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about your van. They just want your money for stopping the night. And that's the harsh reality that people should remember, is that nowhere's safe.
With your van, Mark, what's the cost to fix it? Like, because they didn't get away with anything, did they, really?
No, they had a little nosy inside, but like I say, there was only a few hand tools in the back corner and they obviously didn't want those. So yeah, nothing stolen. The van door's about £1,000 to get it sorted. So you can put it through insurance, but once you've paid your excess and they put your premiums up next year and all the rest of that is probably not even worth doing. So we're just going to front the cost ourselves.
Do you not feel like it might be worth just putting a plate over it and just riveting it on?
You can get the plate kits. I think it's Sussex Installations they're called. I'm sure Nagy had them on his channel where he went out and had his van kitted out. So you can have these aftermarket plates that cover those areas on your van. So I could put one of those. I think it'd fit over the hull. And then obviously when it goes back on lease, I'd have to put a door back on because they want it back as they supplied it.
Oh, they do, yeah.
And so also, you're advertising, aren't you? If you put slam locks on, I've got my van to be fair, and my work van's got my. You may as well say, "Hey, Scroats, there's loads of good stuff in here. Get yourselves in here."
You know what? It's funny. I told you this the other day when I was working for ABC. They put slam locks on all their vans, like because we used to carry around a lot of stuff in the vans, and they told us, listen, you've got to start taking the stuff out of the vans now. Like, we're not putting slam locks on. Don't use the slam locks anymore because actually the thieves will still get in, but the amount of damage they do getting past the slam locks.
The van's fucked.
It's like $4,000 to fix the door and the B pillar and all that sort of stuff. It's not worth it. They're just like, listen, if you've got no tools in there and they get in, it's fine. But we're not replacing tools anymore because the vans were getting done all the time because a lot of the guys stay at premieres and holidays and whatever all around the country. They was getting done all the time, at least like one a month.
So where I work now, when I was on my own, I'd always look. I'd go on Google Earth, look a little bit outside the area, and find like a nice, quiet B&B. Put myself in there, bit safer. Where I work now, the woman who works there, she's like, "Oh, your van will be all right." People look at me like I'm moaning, like his vans get robbed every night because they do. Oh well, what are you bothered about? It'll be all right. It won't. If someone's in the area in that particular Premier Inn session, they'll just bum all the vans in the car park. And then people don't understand. Normal people do not understand the connection between a tradesman and his van and its contents.
It is nerve-wracking, and I used to have a VW Caddy, and I loved it because what is more useful than a van? Nothing really. And then I was always worried about it, and I've switched over to just using a car because I don't really need a van. I put all my I probably shouldn't say this, but all my tools all the time. Everything is in the boot of my car with the parcel shelf over it. No one's ever going to rob my car for my tools. That's a fact.
I don't carry a thing. I've got a crew cab now. It's empty all the time. All the time. Never keep a bean in it unless I'm going from my house to the job, in the job, back out, back home. I won't even stop at Older. I won't stop at the shop.
Where?
Older?
Aldi. Say it like a normal man.
Or
not
Tesco.
Aldi.
Or Coop. I won't stop. I won't even stop at the
kind of northern.
I won't even stop at the co-op. I won't even stop at the co-op for a packet of cobs.
You know, one of the things, going back to the vans, one of the things that I think is really annoying is the thickness of the metal that they actually use. Having seen how they peeled it open, it is so thin. It's ridiculous.
Do you know what? I bet you could do it with, the can opener on a Swiss Army knife.
You
Probably
could.
what they used.
I put mine back temporarily, and I was doing it just with a little pair of pliers and a screwdriver. It's so soft.
Once you've got the initial hole, you can peel it. But I would argue, I know where this is going to go. If someone brings out a stronger van, you should get stronger criminals. It's a vicious circle of
This
is what I
put in the back. Like it's like a big fit. Like I can't remember. It was on a group somewhere. I can't remember.
I know what you're about.
Company,
Yeah.
and they've got like a proper steel reinforced cage, and it slides straight into the back of whatever model van you have. Bolt it down, and so they can bust through the door. They ain't getting into the cage.
The problem is then is they start hanging around for you to turn up in the morning and mug you for the keys.
Yeah,
because these I've got to watch my language here. They're not messing around. These people.
No. So that's what a lot of people don't realize. These are organized gangs. Like all these comments that I've had on my videos, you should have slam locks and your alarms and your cameras and all the rest of it. This is people who've probably not suffered this problem before. These are proper organized, high-level criminals who know exactly what they're doing. There's a plumber who messaged over who saying he had 3 of their vans done, and that was waiting for them in the morning to come out. They just had bats, machetes, told them to open the vans. They didn't care if they rung the police or whatever else. They were taking the lot.
Do you know what's funny? Nick won't mind me telling this story, but Bundy, he got.
He's told this, hasn't he? Yeah, I heard this.
They come round and they tried robbing his van outside his house. He went out there to chase them off, and they was like, "If you call the police, we're going to come back and pour petrol through your letterbox." You're kind of very vulnerable if it's at your house, aren't you? Because you don't know where they live, but they know where you live. You can't. There's not really much, like, short of murdering them there and then. They have got the one up on you.
The worrying bit is
advocating murder.
You've got to. The worrying bit is if someone does try and get to your car, where does it end? Because you are driving a weapon, and I don't know if anyone knows any South African people, they will always lock their wheel. Do you know why that is? When they stop,
go on.
It's a technique for evasive drivers as well, yeah. So if you're in the UK, you drive on the right, don't you? So someone had to come to your right hand door, won't there, to get into your van? So you lock your wheel to the left. Someone appears at your door, reverse, bump the clutch, twat them off.
Is that a thing?
I've done an evasive driving technique.
This guy.
Which I won't go into too much.
What haven't you done?
I'm 11.
Can you fly a helicopter?
If someone appears at your car window and you have got your car locked to the left and you drop your clutch, it will bump about 2 foot, which will hit them and will bounce them off your car. Alternatively, you could just put the throttle up and run them over. Depends what country you're in and what laws apply. But what I'm saying is, it's worth, like, tyres and tarmac. You ever heard of that? Oh. Never, ever. The car in front, you should always be able to see the tyres and the tarmac, because if someone tries to get in your car and you can only see their boot, you can't get in. You can't move. Leave yourself a gap to get out if anyone does out to you like that.
This guy is a regular James Bond electrician, isn't he?
Mate, people down London, people will mug vans, won't they? I'm always aware of it. It's just something I'm aware of.
Do you know what's funny? Did you see that video? I know it's going a bit away from vans, where they tried to rob a geezer in a Bugatti. Like, there's on mopeds, geezer's driving through in a black Bugatti.
Mm.
They come up on a moped, start trying to smash the window to get his watch.
Just yeah, I've seen a few watch things.
Yeah,
they're driving a big sign around London now telling you not to wear your watches and stuff.
You know what? It's probably a thing, because here's the thing. When you said you was going to Heathrow's not really London, but it is.
Mm.
It's still dicey. It's still in that M25 zone, kind of. And yeah, it's still dicey. And there's still people around there that are robbing vans. And not to say it's not taking place in other parts of the country, but London is particularly notorious for it. So, not a van again, but my brother was working on a building site. He's a chippy. And he went to work Saturday morning. And he was like, do you know what? I'm going to take my motorbike. And he was working in Wimbledon. And all right, it's a nice motorbike. It's a Ducati. Got there, chained it up with 2 chains, went into the building, took his levers off, looked out, and the bike was gone.
Oh, the pros, mate. If I want to interject and get some sensible advice, people, right? Because I've got some to offer. Mark said about taking your tools into a hotel. If everyone starts doing that, I'm afraid they'll start hanging around outside hotels. So don't be overt, be covert. Yeah, if you can hide your tools on the job you're on, but on a big job, where are you going to hide them? There is nowhere to hide them. And I wish I could come in and give answers, but I would say to people, always be aware that it's Russian roulette. You never know when you're going to get robbed, and someone is always trying to rob you. And that is the only.
How much can you sell? Like,
this is the other thing. Apparently, there's car boots that exist just to sell stolen goods. Someone said there's a particularly well-known one in Tottenham.
Yeah,
yeah.
Tottenham. There's a video of it online, but I would suggest it's all going out the country.
I did a video. It's on Twitter. I went to one down here, car boot sale down here.
Oh, was it you that did that?
Yeah. Don't ask why I'm going to car boot sales. It's a girl thing. I actually detest going to car boot sales because I got so much toot in my house that I don't want. I literally don't want to go and buy other people's toot. Anyway, I walked up to the table and I was like, there is at least 15 different types of batteries and brands and, you know, like the old ones and new ones and all that. And I was like, I said to the geezer, I was like, why have you got so many different brands of tools? He goes, oh, I buy them for £1. I was like, yeah, I bet you do. I bet they're stolen. Get away, and all this. And it was just a big old hoo-ha. So I just took a video of it all. But that is all you can really do. But what I want to find out is, so you come out, what time did you come out to the van?
I was out early. It's about 5 to 5, something like that.
5 to 5.
Yeah.
So what time did you go in?
I last had sight of the van at about 7. It was intact then.
So, okay. So in that period, they've come round, they've done your van. You walk out to your van. What's your instant reaction to seeing that?
It was like, not shit. That's like awful, innit? It's the worst thing you can possibly see. Even though I know there's nothing in it, and you know the loss to me is just the damage of the vehicle. It's still, your heart drops.
So, what do you do when you see it straight away? What's your first reaction?
To figure out how to get that reported so I can get a crime number to claim on the insurance. Because like I say, this isn't my first time.
So you ain't going up to it and going, right, let's see what they've done, see what they've had.
No, because I know there's nothing in it. First time it happened, that was literally what I did. Doors are open. What's been taken? What's been robbed? What's the damage? But yeah, now it's just I set it up in a way to try and keep that damage to a minimum so it doesn't ruin the rest of the day. Because that's the hidden cost to all of this. If you've had your van done, you've got another couple of days sorting out the bloody mess as a result of that.
And
buy more tools, you mean?
Yeah, you think so the resale value of those tools is probably a third of what it is to buy them.
Most of them were under an edge as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
I've got a message here, I'll read it out. It's from Jay the Spark, right? Who's a regular contributor to this show, and he's put this out. I've really felt this, yeah. He says it's not just the tools, it's all the bits you've accumulated over the years. When mine got done, the C word didn't get much, but they did get away with 2 dewalt T-stack bits filled with every hole saw size you could need. All different types of arbor and drill bits and everything. And it is that in it. It's all those little odds and sods you've got. Funny bent coat hangers. The stuff that really makes your day go quicker that gets nicked, that they've thrown a hedge somewhere and you never see again. And that's the stuff you can't replace that affects you for weeks.
So Mark, you've reported it to the police, you phoned them up. What did they tell you?
You don't have to phone them up now. They encourage you not to. There's a website for van theft.
Is it really?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's the same for every force, but the Metropolitan Police, you now get directed to a website. You put your details in. As long as there's nobody actively at the crime, they just want you to provide the details, the times, the address, and then they get back to you within 48 hours to advise you what they're doing. And I've had that back today, and the advice was they've closed the case and they consider the length of time to review the CCTV is not a valuable use of an officer's resources.
I bet you that entire website's automated.
Yeah, well, I got a message.
Never a human touches that.
I got a message back from a specific police officer, and because the CCTV that needed reviewing was from 7 till 5ish in the morning, they determined based on the crime that had happened, it wasn't worth them putting the resources into looking at it. And they would just
pull you over. They pull you over in a 30, doing 35 and a 30, and spend an hour reprimanding you and sending in paperwork that needs fanning about with and all that. Do you know what I mean? And then then they send you out a ticket. Then you send it back. Then they put you on a course. That's worth it, is it? Do you see what I'm saying? It's like what I'm trying to get at here, and by breaking down your story,
I'm joking.
understanding exactly It's tension seeker.
Sorry.
Tension seeker.
It's got another one on.
But Mark, so you've reported it on the website.
Yeah.
What now? Now you're thinking,
how am I going to get it safe just to drive? Because obviously I've got to get on with the rest of the day. So I've got a great big piece of metal hanging off the side of the van. And that's the point. If someone's peeled your door or cut a hole in the roof or taken a whole panel out, you can't use that vehicle again for the rest of that day. It's got to be towed away. All the rest of it. This one, I could just push it back in, make it reasonably safe, and carry on. So
you know, if you cut someone like that, you'd get nicked.
You would.
That'd be worth their time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be worth it.
So yeah, it's a case of making the vehicle safe, so I can use it, make sure the door are not going to slide open and hurt anybody, and just carry in.
Did they break the mechanism at all? Or is it literally just a sheet?
No, once you open that little panel, there's a wire you pull, and the door just slides open.
Mate, it's so gash, isn't it? It's like
all vans are like that. Every van on the market. Don't
every
start
van
with
is,
the van you can't do it. You're wasting your time. They're all like that. And I've seen them with trannies. They must measure across so far and down so far, and they punch a little hole and put a little hook in.
I'm
not going too deep into it, but they know exactly what they're doing.
On the old school transits, you only had to get like a pair of grips and turn the actual lock, the whole lock mechanism, and it'd open up the whole van.
Yeah, we've had the deadlocks where they just drill them with a 4mm, 6mm bit or whatever. That takes the deadlock straight out. Any of you, I think we had a Dobler, they drilled a little 4mm hole, and like Jamie said, they just hook through, grab the wire and pop it open.
I hate it. Working away is, and I've got to say, every tradesman I feel for you, whether you're a plumber or plasterer and I hate you or not, yeah, I would not wish van theft on anyone. I don't
care about decorators.
Even, not decorators, because they've only got a bucket and a kind of super tanks.
Not really a trade.
It's just the worst thing that can happen to anyone. It's like the HMRC. If you don't pay your tax bill, they won't take your tools that you earn to earn money. They won't do that. The VAT man won't take the tools you trade because they know you need them to earn money. But some fucking, you know what I want to say, word will do that. And like when I worked away, I was in Barrett BAE Systems, yeah, and I left my van on site 24/7, and I bought a fold-up bike, and I used to scoot from where I was working to the digs at night on my fold-up bike, and I've never slept so soundly because my van was basically under armed guard. Like, you know what I mean? And it was such a relaxing job for me because like the one thing I don't have to worry about here is my van getting turned over at night. And I can't, only tradesmen will understand how relaxing that is.
So Mark, what are you going to do now? Are you going to take it to a garage and get it done? Or are you going to buy the door yourself? Because I know you're a bit handy with cars and stuff, and just pop a door on.
I've put it into a local body shop to have them do the door because it's all got to be done with a proper process for the lease company. I would have done it, but you can't. So they're going to do it. But for the time being, I've just made it safe and whacked a load of filler in it because there's the old issue of getting materials. I've been told there's a 4-week lead time on that door.
Oh, mate.
And because I'm not going through insurance, there's no courtesy vehicle options. So it was either hire a vehicle or make it usable and safe. So I put a load of body filler in it and patted it down.
That door's done now, don't it? That door's done. There's no repairing that door.
Is that door not a theft deterrent now?
Definitely nothing in it.
You know what I mean? Is that not now deterrent? Like, no, I've got a transit crew. I'm thinking about having private ambulance put on the side of it.
Could do, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you put decorator on the side of your van, no one's robbing it. Or you've got 3 fucking paintbrushes and some super skull. Like,
there is that angle, isn't there? I've had people say, "I don't get it sign written," but we've had unsigned written vans for years before, and they still got done. But putting decorator on it, that's a good shout.
Unsigned written van is basically, I'll confess now, I had some magnets for my old van, asbestos removal.
Another good shout.
And I got a guy who's got an asbestos firm. The number was their real number. There's an asbestos removal people. You know, they get your code for an IC. The number was their number. So like, who's gonna break into a van that's got asbestos removal written all over it?
So you can get an affiliate code and keep your tools safer.
All you got, the only thing you've got is the art of camouflage, ain't you? Like, if you're a sparker, you've got a test gear in there, probably.
It's one of those plumber, you've got those things though. What is the protection against it? What is the protection against it other than like these harebrained schemes of ours? Like, just get a car, really. Just get an estate car. Really,
it's Russian roulette, mate. There's no protection. It's Russian roulette. Every tradesman is spinning the barrel. You're going to get done one day. Think about it like that.
Just having a Ranger or something. Is that got to be better? That's got to be better, isn't it?
Yeah, you look like a drug dealer.
No, I love a Ranger. I love a Ranger.
There is a load of mods you can do to your van. There's loads of stuff. There's a guy I know quite well messaged on LinkedIn saying you can have all the cameras put in there, you can have extra sirens, and you can get the smog and smoke systems and stuff. So there is loads of bits of gear you can put on your van, but it'll
I'm
cost
not
you a
being-
lot of money. And ultimately, if they want to be in and take all your gear, that's not going to put anyone off.
Unless
my
they got
opinion.
machine gun towers in there.
Yeah.
Like,
I was watching the shorts on YouTube the other day, and funnily enough, like Street Crime UK come up and stuff, and this is how unfazed they are. They are bursting into like an EE store, jumping up onto the counter, kicking off the display phones, and running out again. But they're not doing it quick. They're like, I don't know, they might spend 2-3 minutes kicking off the phone off the bracket off the counter, take the whole lot and run off. They're not wearing masks. They don't care.
no, I would say as well, just for everyone's better, it's like 95% of the population, I think, are decent people. 5% ruin it for everyone. And the people that are doing this, they don't give a shit. Like, and I'm being very restrained this podcast. If I said what I want to say this podcast, I'd get banned off.
No, but do you know what I think
that.
it is? I think it needs, like, I think people need to act in the moment. And I know it's easy to say. It's like, if you saw someone breaking into someone's van and you went over and give them a good beating, I think that should be a victimless crime.
Should get a medal.
No,
Put it this way, yeah.
Victimless crime.
I'll tell you how much I take this. I'm going to word it very carefully, yeah. If I saw someone break into a van and running off with some tools, they got hit by a car at high speed, and they were clearly badly injured, and that car drove off, I'd just walk off. I won't get my phone out and ring the police, yeah. I'd just walk off.
But is it
let them die.
Horse thieves of the Wild West used to be like, that's the lowest form of life. If you robbed a horse in the Wild West, that was it. You was like excommunicado.
I never knew that. You know, there's certain criminal breeds, isn't there, that even criminals will grass on. Non-sin, tool thieves. Yeah, I literally mean it. If I saw one get run over, I'd leave them there. I'd just walk off whistling, smiling. I'd be smiling.
I've never had my van done. I've never had my van done, and I've never had like my tools stolen. The only time I've had a tool stolen was I was working in this new build flats, and I had the laser on the wall. And someone managed, and do you know what? They can have the laser for this. They managed to nick the laser whilst I was using it.
No surprise there.
Like, I was doing it, and I was marking up boxes, and I turned around, maybe went on my phone, looked back. I was like, "Where's the laser line?" Looked over there, gone.
I've never had my tools robbed, and I like to make myself feel better. I make out that it's because I've acted in better ways, but I don't think I think it's just Russian roulette, really. But I like to think I've done my best to stop my van getting robbed over the time I've had it. But when I started this new firm the other week, I had to go and buy toolkits for everyone, and I had to order it and see how much that value is because I copied my own toolkit. I had to order it, see how long it took, and see how much it cost. And I was like, "Fucking, I'm glad this is someone else's money, not mine." Because I can't afford to have a spare set of tools lying around. And I ordered this kit. It took a month to arrive. And I was like, if my van got robbed and I was on my own, because obviously I've got a lot of, I'm not my own anyway. I got to worry about it. I've been thinking I'll be out of work for a month waiting for this shit to turn up. And $7.5 grand was my personal toolkit.
We've all got a spare set of tools somewhere.
But I've got a lot of tools, but not enough to do the job properly.
Do you want to let a guest speak?
First time it happened to me, I was probably 26. I'd just been in business myself for a year. And it was on my drive at home, and they cleaned out a couple of MFTs, all my tools and power tools, because I literally left everything in there. It felt very safe on my drive at home with a alarm on the vehicle and stuff. But yeah, next day, totally cleaned out, whole lot's gone. Obviously, I'm not sat on pots of cash at the time. It was just myself. So building back up from that, I very nearly give up, I will be honest. And there's a lot of people who will be in that place themselves. You see it all the time on social media, don't you? Any trade, they've been done, just a one-man band, everything's gone. And it's just too expensive to get back going again. And the insurers don't cover everything either.
A bog standard Sparky toolkit, what I would have in my tote, is $2 grand. I think that's what everyone's carrying around. And for someone to absorb
to replace like just hand tools is enough. So that's £200-300 straight away minimum. That's just basic shit.
I told you the other week as well. I spent that money on them tools. They turned up. I took my old tools off the van. I got to a job and I didn't have some, hex to square adapters.
Yeah.
Didn't have any. Couldn't do the job. Drove all the way to Derby for no reason. Next thing I was like, oh, I'll just get out one of the bits. PZ2 bits or X bits. Oh, I forgot to order them. And that's what it'd be like if you got robbed.
Yeah.
For weeks, but you're wasting your own money. Honestly, anyone that's been robbed or gets robbed, I've got No matter who you are, I've got a lot of. I feel sorry for you. I really do.
Well, that started us off on
Horrendous.
emptying vehicles out after that stage. I've been really, really careful, and obviously now we're more established, so we have a van done. It's not the end of the world. We can carry on, but it's still annoying. And yeah, it's just keeping your stuff safe at home. We've got camera systems around the house that set off an alarm on all our phones if someone even steps on the drive. We've got a very oversensitive dog, so if anybody comes near any vehicles at home, I'm going to know about it. And then you just have the issue of tackling the intruders, I guess. But when you're aware, how does even any of that work? If you're in a hotel and you've got your van maybe connected to the internet, are you going to be on the internet? Are you going to get those alerts? Do you really want to go out into a car park in the dark in the middle of the night somewhere you don't know?
For sure, for
Don't do that.
100% sure, the Wi-Fi network in a Premier Inn suck a fat one. You ain't getting no internet. You ain't even getting an email come through. You're not even getting a WhatsApp message come through.
The problem is as well, like you said about the police, Mark, it's just an automated system not doing it about it. If you secure the vans, it just escalates. Where does it end? Are we going to end up like with people turn up outside your house tonight demanding you open your van? Because they said this is what's happening with the posh cars, isn't it? They've knocked on your door, you put it out the window, give me your car keys, no bad will happen to you. I've heard it happening. So like people are throwing the keys out rather than getting agreed. What are you going to go and take on an organised crime on your street?
And the thing is, when it's at your house, here's the thing, right? We had the other week, we had someone pull up outside our drive and just playing music late at night. And the option is go out and confront them.
They know where you live.
They know where you live. And I went out there and confronted them because I'm a bit of an idiot. And then as I was doing, I was like, this is the worst idea. Because what you should have done is just phone the police, and then they don't know who's phoned the police. But now I've had a row with them, not really got much out of it, and I've had to go back upstairs.
Well, I'd jumped off my back
phone the police now because now they know where I live.
I jumped over my back gate and come out next door neighbour's house because I can't stand the cunts. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
No, do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's the same problem you have with like your van getting done on your drive. So even if you catch them, you go and give them a beating, they know where you live. Yeah, it's only a matter of time before they come back and give you a beating.
If you're Nails, if you are Jackie Chan and someone's whacking your van in a car park of a Premier Inn and you think you can take them on, great. But don't ever try and pull that stunt in your own ass. Don't ever try and pull that stunt in your own ass. Don't do it anyway. I mean, it's my advice. Don't.
I would advise against anything like that because actually, if they're robbing tools out of your van, they've got way less to lose than you do.
And they're very rarely on their own. There's more than one. And usually there's someone watching for them that you might not have seen. So it's just not worth that risk. And you say about the police, but there's all this theft of like catalytic converters, even the fuel out of vehicles, loads of stuff that's going on out there. And if they were investigating all of those things, there's just not enough resources, is there? The tax burden for that falls on us.
But they'd still pull you over for like, I don't know, a headlight out or something.
Or say there's not two genders.
I don't get. Why have you said that?
What?
YouTube idiot. Don't say anything like that.
YouTube won't hear if you don't talk about it.
I'm going to actually edit that out. But here's the thing. They say they haven't got enough time to investigate that, but they're out there doing other investigations that are really easy. So they catch all the low-hanging fruit, the things that really annoy people, but then the stuff that really affects people, all of a sudden is a bit too hard, like your house getting broken into or your van tools getting robbed. I don't know what the answer is, and I'm not fully blaming the police.
No, that's good point.
Because at the end of the day, who do you call when you're in a bad situation? The police. So you can't knock them because they're there and they're awesome. But in the same respect, something has to be done. Now, is it the fault of us? Is it the fault of the police? Is it the fault of the van manufacturers? I do feel like they need to do more. I don't know what they could do because I've seen literally whole sides of the door cut out. Right, with like
roofs opened up a lot.
Roofs opened up the whole lot. I was on a job, Tesco's Purley, years and years and years ago, and all they did is they pulled up next to a van, real close, opened up the sliding door, and then just got a recip saw and cut out a hole, jumped through it, emptied the van into the other van. I mean, there's not much a manufacturer can do against that other than plate it in armour.
Straight up, these you get the odd car thief, yeah. You can grass them up. Someone might catch them locally or all that. Most of this is organised criminal gangs, and you can't do fuck all about it.
No, I don't think
Is
you
what
can.
I'd
I
say.
do think there's stuff that they should do to make it more difficult.
The police need to do something about it. Not much anyone can do.
No, I think the manufacturers need to make it more difficult. I really do. I don't think being able to drill a hole at a certain point in the door, poke a cable, poke a hook through, and open your door is acceptable, in my opinion.
No matter what you do, they'll get around it. I'll tell a funny one. Did anyone remember the one a few years ago where this is common knowledge, it's on the internet, I checked earlier on, the SAS were doing an OP in a van that looked like a tradesman. I don't know this story, just to cheer everyone up. So the SAS are doing an OP, which is an observation post in a van. It's a training exercise, and they were in a van that looks like a builder's van, and they're looking through binoculars at someone doing all the stuff, yeah? And some scrote starts breaking into the van. So the geezer gets on the radio and goes, "There's someone breaking into the van." And the guy's like, "Well, it's an exercise. Play along because it might be part of the exercise." So they opened the door, dragged him in. It weren't part of the exercise. So they said, "Well, just keep on to him. We'll get the police to collect him later because we're counting on what we're doing." And the bit I know is that 4 hours later, the police picked him up and says, "Yeah." And they told him what happened. The police like, "That's great, but why has he got loads of fresh fag burns on his face?"
Mate, you just wouldn't want to get abducted by the SAS, would you?
No, but it's if you Google it's genuinely happened. I think it was in a Tesco's car park, but yeah, they dragged him in and he was gobbing off, so they started burning with fags, which I've got no problem with whatsoever.
I think you're right, Sam, that the van manufacturers should do more. You look at the improvements that have come in the front of a van with all your heated seats and the radios moving on and all of the investment they've put into that because they know it sells. I guess that maybe shows what the marketplace really is bothered about. But look at the back of the vans. They ain't changed since the 80s.
Wrong. I'm going to do a summary. So you're wrong. If you are rocking around in the reinforced van, your van's getting robbed or you're getting robbed for your van.
No, not reinforced, but like take a bit more time and care and thought in the mechanism and like not being so easily exposed. Why don't, like, I don't know. Why don't they put a bit of, not titanium because that'd be too expensive, but what about tungsten or something? Like a rock hard metal, a bit of pig iron. Put a bit of like an inch thick bit of pig iron in front of it. So listen, I don't care what drill bit you got. It's going to take you a while to get through that. Do you know what I mean?
I think they just realised. I think if they were drilling that door, there's like this is hard. They'd be like, right, there's something good in here. It's the same as deadlocks. It's the same as slam locks, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. If you're trying to drill into it and you've got a bit of pig iron there, and you're like, why is my drill bit melting? It's a ball ache, isn't it? The reason they do it is because it's easy. The harder you make it, the less
true. But I just think the easiest solution then is to start mugging the person for the keys or breaking into their ass. You know, the problem you've got to nip.
Yeah, but
you've got to go to the root cause,
haven't you? Then, isn't it? So if you're jacking someone's keys, that's a big nick. If you're jacking someone for their keys out of the house, that's burglary. That's a big nick. And it's burglary with menace or whatever, that's another big nick. So the thing is, if they're all just robbing tools out of a van, you're not even going to see inside of a cell. You're going to be like, that's a slap on the wrist offence. Even if you've done it 10 times, you still probably ain't going to get custodial. So you've got to make it harder for them, and then you're right. Some will escalate. But they'll get
there's no solutions that we could argue all night here about. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. The ultimate solution is.
I'll tell you why I'm wrong. I'll tell you why I'm right. Because when I was growing up, there was a big problem of people getting robbed on the bus. It was a big thing. In Croydon, if you got on a bus at the wrong time, you're getting robbed.
Mm. And
all round London, it was street robbery. And then what they just started doing is, they started handing out 5-year sentences for street robbery. And all of a sudden, street robbery wasn't an easy thing to do anymore. And all of a sudden, it stopped happening because you're getting proper big bird for doing that.
Totally agree with you, but the way Mark got dealt with by the police, that ain't happening, is it?
That's the thing. They know the laws out there backing them up. If they was to arrest these people, they'd have no prosecution on them anyway, would they? So
of course they wouldn't.
You can see why they don't put the resources into it. I think there is things that can be done, but it's more taking away the resale opportunities of stuff that's nicked. And you see with like mobile phones kind of, led the charge with this over the years. They kind of started blacklisting those because it was a big thing, weren't they, of all your phones being nicked. They still get stolen today. They just clone them and still sell them on, or they ship them.
They all end up in Shenzhen, don't they?
Yeah,
no,
so I mean,
they end up
stopped it.
in Africa because
No,
they
my
don't have
phone
the same
is-
network.
There's a wicked documentary of this on YouTube. My phone that got nicked ended up in Shenzhen. And there's a documentary about 500,000 other people's phones that have been in Shenzhen getting stripped. So when you buy an iPhone screen, a genuine iPhone screen off eBay, it's actually nicked. That's what they do. Yeah, they break them. But are we going to get off this subject and finish on a more happy? Because I imagine now there's a load of tradesmen and women listening to this podcast just angry. I think we should bring it up a little bit.
To what?
What good things have happened?
Nothing. Mark got robbed. That made me laugh.
I think like have you seen the before we move on, the Milwaukee wonky stuff, so you can register your gears. Hilti as well, they have a register where you can register your power tools and they come up with certain scans. There was a guy who got his Milwaukee, I think it was his chop saw back that had wonky in it, and he was waiting for it to ping on his app for weeks and weeks and weeks, and eventually it popped up. He went round to the place where it was, and someone else had legitimately rebought it, but obviously, it was stolen. So he got it back.
I've heard you and Nick talking about air tags.
Yes.
Yeah, wouldn't it be good if, like, has anyone seen the film The Running Man, where they had the explosive collar on the neck?
Oh God,
floating collar.
Fuck all the tracking bit, yeah. Little bit of C4 in there. When you know it's back at the crack, then, but doink, boom.
You know what I'd do? I'd set it off by accident as I was trying to use it.
You know what? And this is the same for yeah. You know, if 1 in 10 of it, if 1 in 100 air tags could explode, you'd be able to stick them to your tools on show and no one would nick them anyway, would there? Because even criminals won't take the chance.
I make my daughter wear one if she goes out, and she's 3.
Well,
she
why
has an
not?
tag on her all the time. So no, I don't want it to explode. But I get what you're saying.
Prevention's better than cure. But yeah, if they won't nick them. They won't nick them. If they knew they were, they won't nick them. If they could be tracked, they won't nick them. That's why they end up. And I tell you where the tools end up, because I've seen a video on it online. There's a wicked recovery people on YouTube called Animatrix. I'll try and put the link in the comments, yeah. And they just recover stolen cars and farm equipment and stuff like that. They recover a little digger, and they find it in one of them, the container yards where it's just loads of shipping containers. And when they crack it open, it's just full of power tools because they take it back to a shipping container, chuck them in there because the trackers can't get out.
No, that's right. Yeah, it's like a Faraday cage.
And this Faraday cage so they fill it up on a day. They leave it there for a month. After a month, they come back because all the trackers are flat and they empty it out and send it abroad, or just send it abroad locked up.
It's really annoying, but that is a top tip. Air tags. I know Bundy does it. He tags everything up. He's got about 400 of them, and he tags everything up. It's I think that's a good shout. And he has them in his van. He has them in certain tools and stuff like that.
Don't go around there yourself though. Ring the police because it does give you something to go at. Like Mark is struggling because he's got no further to take it, has he? But that would give you something to go at.
It would. It would. I think there's a few things you can do. You what? Sorry.
Would you go and get it?
I'd send Matthew.
Do they not start beeping now if if it's not your ear tag, but it's following you around a lot? Do they not start beeping to say someone's near you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I don't know if it beeps, but it does. It does.
Your phone will say there's an ear tag attached to you. It's been attached to you for a long time, isn't it?
Yes, if it's not yours. So yeah, because they did have that problem. People were like dropping it in a bird's bag and then following them home and stuff.
All boys, rapists aren't sexists.
Mate, does this guy know that we're on YouTube? And you can't say shit like this.
Gosh, God, it works both ways.
You're the worst host.
Well, replace me then. It was a list of mile long. But yeah, I suppose if you put all the tools in a container, the guy comes to his container next door, it'll ping his phone, won't it? So there's something to be said about air tags. I've not had anyone say a success story yet, but there's something to be said that there's some evidence there.
Yes.
You know what else you ate?
And security people in car parks. That's another good one. Actual physical people watching the hotel car parks. If you're paying 15 quid a space a night.
I do believe there's live
this is a thing. This is a thing. That is such a good point. That is such a good point, Mark. If you're paying £15 a night and that car park's Ramo, for sure,
100 cars at least.
For sure, let's have a guard on there.
Well, 40 could chip in and get a guard for the night, couldn't they?
Do you know what I mean? How much is
it? Out. They were making 1,500 quid a night on that car park.
What, and they can't have someone on the gate?
Exactly.
Well, the person at the gate just go on, they won there because they're not paid enough to stop a criminal gang in a van.
All they are is a physical reporter. So they just go, Oh look, there's a couple of scrotes driving around in a Vauxhall Nova, what we would know as a Vauxhall Nova.
I'm not a lorry driver, but I do believe these things exist for lorry drivers, don't they? Secure compounds where a lorry driver goes in, it gets locked in, they've got showers and that, and they pay a fee so they don't get the curtains
right?
slashed. I think so, yeah. I know it definitely exists in France. I don't know about in the UK, but I'm sure there are secure compounds for lorry drivers. Because again, they're in the van, aren't they? They're in the wagon, could be full of iPhones, couldn't it? But,
Yeah.
but people slash the curtains. That's why you always see the doors open on the motorway, isn't it? You got the A1,
Yeah.
there's a lorry, doors are wide open because the van's empty, because it's cheaper to leave your door open than it is for to slash your curtains. And sometimes you'll see loads in the back of wagons because they'll crawl in there and go, oh, it's plastic cups. Leave it.
You know what though? I heard that they have to open them because of different air pressures and stuff, and it could explode. That sounds so dumb saying that. I know.
It may be, but I know for a fact that they leave them open because like they'll get in there and go, oh, what's this? Is it worth nicking? It's like 20,000 plastic cups, and they won't slash the curtain because the curtains are about £8,000 or something.
Yeah, they
But
would be cheap, will they? You can see why they do it.
You can't do that with your van, can you? Because you've always got odds and sods in there.
There's a few people who've said they leave theirs unlocked, and I was like, well, does that cover your insurance if they actually steal the van? But I guess how do they prove that it was left unlocked?
You can put slam locks on the doors, the driver's doors, and if you've got bulkhead, you could leave the back doors open.
Could do.
I've got a van outside my house. My van's got nothing in it outside my house. If anyone wants to work out where they can come round.
Really and truly, the only way of protecting against it now is to not leave your shit in there.
It's Russian roulette.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
Just leave it. And so, will you lock the doors now, or will you just fucking leave it open?
Probably still lock them and then just deal with the fallout afterwards. This is the first time in a while now, because we have been quite careful, but we spend a lot of time traveling around the country because we live in the arse end of nowhere. So if we want to work and then good we've got to travel, and that means staying away. It's one of those. It gets priced into the jobs as an overhead that we accept. There's damage from time to time that we have to sort out. So it's the customer.
I know you didn't have this option, Mark. I know you did not have this option, yeah, because you're in Heathrow, which is limited on where you can stop. But I touched on it earlier. When I was working away, I'd go on Google Earth, look where I'm working. I live about half an hour away from Nottingham, so it's no big travel. I'd go about half an hour out in a ring, and I'd try and find a little quiet B&B down a country lane where some little old didderer runs it. Because your van's more secure. That's the only advice. That is honestly the only advice I can give to people.
Yeah, or an Airbnb, so you've got a driveway. That's sometimes helpful.
Yeah, it's more like a house, isn't it? So you are limited in the fact that. But I mean, I live in a little quiet town, and on the local Facebook group, once I saw, 8 vans have been robbed around here. They'd obviously come into town, gone round the circuit, robbed 8 vans, but they'd not been down my road, and I didn't get caught up in it. But wherever you are, you've got that risk, but you can reduce it. And I would say the biggest reduction you can do is not going Premier Inns and travel lodges.
It's true. It's true. We use them when we're in London because you're kind of limited on where you can and can't stay. It's just the cost of it. The end of the day.
I know in Heathrow you had no other option. You're not going to find a little quiet B&B in Heathrow.
Not really.
Oh, was it T5 Premier Inn or something?
It was Terminal 5.
So
Heathrow.
Like, I swear there's like anti-terrorist police there, gun police.
There is
a whole lot.
There's police all over.
That's a brass on these guys. They've gone in there in like a highly, like, what you want to do is if you're going to rob somewhere, you want to rob somewhere where there's low police activity. There, it's high alert all the time.
That area is riddled with ANPR. They know every car that's gone in and out of there. So the police go, we ain't got CCTV. They know what car's going out, yeah.
And do you know what? I bet it ain't even a nick car they've done it in.
No, because you run more risk of driving around the nick car, don't you? That'll flash up straight away. Yeah. Whereas a legit car won't cause any problems.
No, you don't even have to speed to get away. I think we've done a very good investigation on this.
If anyone's coming along tonight... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say you should ask your listeners to drop their comments in below because this is like, I would imagine 50% of your audience at least have had it happen to them.
Yeah. And anyone that's come along for a giggle today, and listen for a giggle, I'm sorry, but we're doing a public service tonight, aren't we? Just a little reminder, like, look after your shit.
I've shouted at you twice.
What did I say that time?
No, what I'm saying is they would have laughed at me shouting at you.
Well, do you want me to say something? Do you want me to say something stupid so you can shout at me again?
No, don't say anything stupid.
I'm trying to make it as fun as I can, but yeah, but we did say it this week. We're going to have Mark on to talk about this because
Yeah.
just a little reminder, because it's a public service, isn't it? It's like we're here to help Sparks out. We're trying to say, look, don't get COVID. Before COVID, this was bigger. This was more talked about. But it seems to have died a bit of a death. So we're just clicking it back up there. Yeah, this does happen.
It does. And do you know what? I think this is one of the problems when people go to buy vans. They go to buy vans, they love their van, and they never think it's going to happen to them. They know it's going to happen, but they sort of lie to themselves it's not going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
True.
Like, it's definitely going to happen at some point if you've got a nice van, all sign written, and it's like Sam's Electrical in there.
My last one, I'll be honest now, I'll be totally honest with you, it is genuinely why I stopped being self-employed, because I would be in a hotel at night and I'd just be like, "Ugh." I'd be in the house at night. If a fucking squirrel farted, I could walk out my bedroom, which is over there for audio viewers, and I'd go and look out the bedroom window, or I'd get my phone looking at CCTV. And I had, you know the thin van vaults, the ones that are like a pallet size. I had them in the floors with a false floor above it, so you couldn't even see where my tools were. I got where it started to affect the quality of my life genuinely. So I feel for that. I can't, mate. I used to have Tesco in there. I couldn't load it every night to my house. And it's generally one of the biggest factors that made me go and work for someone is that I don't have to worry about it now.
Do you know what I do at night? This. Straight away. And I wake up in the morning. I don't care. But I know I feel...
If you're jobbing Spark with a couple of grand's worth of tools, which I'm sure you've got in your poorly parked car outside on the street, like, yeah, you could probably swallow it up once or twice. But I know a guy that got a £30,000 mega for HV nicked, and it got thrown in the hedge. And when they found it, it was wrecked because they got it. It was like, this is fucking useless. Even though it's worth 30 grand, it's not got no resale value in that area. So it got thrown in the hedge. So I was like, I used to have a lot of Tesco.
Like, who do you sell that to? There's not many people going to want one.
Probably 20 people in the country that got one.
And here's the worst thing. If you buy stolen tools, you're just as bad.
I've got to say the C word again then, but yeah.
You are.
It's
just
all
as bad.
good.
Yeah,
do you want to buy a cheap drill? No, I fucking don't.
You know why? Because tradesmen don't sell their tools. They give them away to apprentices, or they might sell them to someone else, or like someone they're working with. Tradesmen will not come up to you and sell you a tool randomly. That's not what we do.
There's a few. I bought quite an expensive fluke oscilloscope off eBay. And I messaged the guy and says, look, mate, I'm going to absolutely make sure you're not stolen. This is not stolen. He went, tell you what, mate, here's my address. Come round the house. And I got round there, and he was clearly like a lifetime electronics engineer. And he's like, I'm retired. Asked my missus. I was like, yeah, you know what I mean? I got all the right vibe. But if I'd have got round there and it's like in some council estate down Nottingham City Centre, I'd have been like, what are you selling this for? Like,
walking around like this.
I just don't want it anymore. You know what I mean? But
do you want to buy Jules?
Yeah.
I said you, man. I suck your dick, man.
It popped up. It was quite a rare fluke oscilloscope. Like, look, mate, I want to know you bought us genuinely. Like another one, he said, "Oh, we did a job and we needed this, and I've got the receipts, and I can tell you where I got it from." I was like, "Yeah, cool." But if you buy it, what to say? If you're part of the problem, buyers are worse than the stealers. Is that what they say? Thieves are worse.
No, I don't think they're worse. I think they're just as bad. I think if you're buying bent tools, you're out of order.
If there wasn't any demand, there wouldn't be this plight. But I do believe most of it's going abroad.
Yes, honest. I do.
I think so.
You go to a boot sale and you buy a drill from a boot sale, you're buying a stolen drill. 9 times out of 10.
And I tell you where the worst for it is, we can spot a mile off.
When it's got someone else's name on it. When it's
like
Paul's drill. And it's getting sold by Bogdan.
I've seen on Facebook multiple times now, females, and I'm not saying they're kind of tradesmen, but they're not selling, not a lot of women are selling a drill where the drill was owned by Bob, the saw was owned by Steve, the recip saw was owned by Kevin, and it's got the brand new dewalt batteries with it. Yeah, you know what I'm getting at? Like, you see them on Facebook Marketplace all the time. It's a fucking hellhole.
Yeah, you do. Oh, it's always a woman selling tools on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, and you ask them where they got them from. Oh, my husband no longer needs them. Why's your husband got 37 names?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, because it's the truth. I'm not like I'm
because Facebook Marketplace is one of the worst places for it.
Facebook Marketplace is a fucking skip. I use it to get rid of all of my crap.
It is, but if you want to buy stolen tools, that's the place, isn't it? Because I was on there the other day. I was on the other day looking for batteries for remote control cars because I'm a bit sad like that.
But that's the kind of thing you would, hobby
Yes.
rate. That's the kind of thing that naturally occurs
Right,
on
do you know
Facebook
what come up?
Marketplace.
Like
dewalt
batteries.
batteries.
Yeah. And I was like, well, that's not okay.
I think it's fair to say that a remote control car, you buy it, you get bored of it, you sell it.
Yes.
But no one sells a dewalt XRP drill and 18-volt battery. All right, no, wrong. People will sell dewalt drills sometimes, but I've never sold a dewalt battery.
No.
Why would I?
No.
The shit ones go in the radio and in the torches. Because I use dewalt
Yes, they
torches.
do.
Yeah, all your batteries are on a natural cycle from being brand new to going in the fucking bin. You are not going to flog them off at any point. And
No one sells batteries ever.
Unless it's Mickey, because they're fucking junk. Because you've knackered them with the coffee machine or the leaf blower you got. But I tell you what could help is if everyone went on Facebook Marketplace and just Googled batteries and just messaged them, you're a effing C word. For everyone did it, they just won't be able to do it. They won't be able to manage the messages. No, self-help of the trades.
Yeah, I feel like we've been quite in depth tonight.
We give it a good going over, didn't we? Definitely.
We better bring some small stuff on faces next week because this one's put me in a bit of a downer.
No,
I got some good news next week, but I can't say anything about it right now.
What did you do that for? Is it?
You can't say anything, Jamie.
Can't I play the yes or no game?
No.
Oh.
You can't even hint.
I mean, all I'm saying is,
what I will say is, has anyone here ever seen Futurama?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why does Mark look like Dr. not Dr. Zoidberg? What was the other one? Dr. Fernsworth or something? Like, your head is getting more pointy and your hair is getting more tough.
It is.
You
look like
I'm afraid. Dr. Farnsworth before he got old.
All I'd say is, your van got slashed open.
Yep.
Yeah, what spark needs an angle grinder like that one you've got in the background?
Exactly.
The fucking inside job.
I think it's an inside job, isn't it?
But if you'd done it with that, it'd be a lot cleaner.
It would, wouldn't it? They could have at least got the right gear to rob it.
That's my thing. Like, wouldn't you just, not giving ideas out, just quickly, I would just hit it with a grinder. I would have hit it with
noise.
Yeah, but mate, it can't be that much. I don't know.
I've spoken to one of the criminal fraternity and stuff like that. Yeah, what do you think is the most alarms, lights, cameras? Which one's better putting people off?
Lights.
Correct. No one wants
to rob in the daylight.
No one wants to be seen visually. Cameras are reasonable. Alarms, people ignore them. But if you have a security light, a good security light comes on, they will fuck off.
Absolutely the case. No one wants to be lit up trying to do it. No one wants a torch shown on them when they're doing a job.
It don't mean anyone see it. It's just naturally unnerving, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. When we was kids, we used to do this thing called garden runs. And
it's just like knocking over.
No, so my cousin lived on a crescent. It's called Holder Crescent. So all the houses were around like the green in the middle. So half of it, we used to see if we could run through people's gardens, and get round to complete the whole semicircle. I know it's a chavvy thing to do, but as a council estate, I don't know what you want from me. Anyway, so you start, and it was always it'd be like on like a. I don't know, like in October sometime. So it got dark early, and then you'd be bussing through the gardens, jumping over the fences, and all stuff like that. And it's always the ones that had the garden light that come on, you'd be double scared of, and you had to quit. Oh, the lights on, quick.
It's unnerving. I mean, if it was all lit up, there's no point in lighting your house up or your van up. It doesn't. That helps. But that bang of a light comes on, it's naturally like unnerving.
Yeah, it does. Because you think someone's turned the light on, they're coming out.
I tell you what, though, another tip is, I find quite good for driveways and stuff. If you absolutely want to do a little bit of protection for your van, I don't think you can beat a Ring doorbell.
Do you know what?
I think they're a good little bit of kit. I know people will come on and go, no, I've actually got a full CCTV system. Billy Basics, the minimum amount of protection you can put on your van and your drive is a Ring doorbell, I think, and then a good security light. Because we've got to do some positive stuff to finish off, haven't we?
You can get those Ring spotlights as well now, can't you? Where they have the sirens, microphones in, and the lights all in one.
Can you get that alarm off Felix Knights that goes, "Get back, you bastards! I'll break your legs."
You could probably record it in, I think.
That would generally put people off, wouldn't it? But yeah, ring doorbell and a good security light on your drive. And what they'll do is, obviously, the only problem is they'll fuck off the next door and rob them instead.
Well, I don't care about next door.
Yeah.
I only care about me and mine. No friends.
Hashtag no friends.
Right. Monday Club.